letrufah, Eternally Yours, letter 317. With God's help, Thursday before the morning prayers of bezH 5600 Rebbe. Greetings to far and near, to all our honored comrades, more precious than golden pearls, the God-fearing and righteous men who cleave to the tree of life. Asheichem, happy are you, happy your lots, to the generous of God's people in Shirin, Medvedivka, Krakow, Shug and their environs. May God command His blessings to be upon you, and may you succeed in all your endeavors. May you merit from now on to truly draw close to God and His Torah according to all the pathways and profound, awesome, and wondrous advice that we drew from the well springs of salvation. May you do so until your eyes are opened and you merit to see the beauty of your portion. May you do so until your eyes are opened and you merit to see May you do so until your eyes are opened and you merit to see the beauty of your portion, to taste the sweet nectar of the lovely words of the rebbe's holy teachings, and to follow his pathways all the days of your lives forever, until you merit to look upon God's pleasantness and to visit in His chamber in this world and the next, eternally umaaiiinnn. May it be His will. Thus far as God's compassion helped me, and I merited to return here yesterday and to cross the border safely. Starting now, I am preparing myself to travel to Kremenetz for next Shabbos nachman. From there, with God's salvation, I will continue on to bezH until I arrive speedily with God's kindness to our Rebbe's resting place and the place of our hope in meuman, the location of His holy gravesite. The holy days of are approaching. May we begin at least now to sincerely and simply follow the Rebbe's pathways. My beloved brothers and comrades, my friends whom I cherish more than a brother, friends and companions in this world and the next, forever. If I want to describe to you even a minuscule fraction of the enormous, wondrous kindnesses and miracles that God is doing with us, and with me especially, poor, destitute man that I am, every single day, and on this journey in particular, 1,000 pages would not suffice. I have already known, believed, and spoken a great deal about how the Rebbe's holy light will never ever, God forbid, be extinguished, where great waters could not extinguish a consummately awesome, exalted, and holy light such as this. A consummately awesome, exalted, and holy light such as this, and rivers could not wash it away. Now, however, my eyes have seen a little of it, and more than this I believe with God's help. I could therefore not hold back from relating to you a tiny fraction of it, in order to give thanks to the past, and to cry out for the future, for each and every individual, for each and every person overall, and in all the details of his life, still needs many acts of salvation, and great wondrous kindnesses for the opposing side. What the mystical literature calls the other side is waiting to ambush and to move against every single person individually and against them all collectively. He is doing his job every way that he can to ambush, to undermine, and to catch, to ambush, to undermine, and to catch a person in his net, to undermine, and to catch a person in his net, God forbid, so that it constantly seems impossible to break the concealments, the temptations, barriers, confusion, desires, conflicts, postponements, and distractions, etc., such as these. It is in this vein that the Rebbe explained the words, they spread it out, and it could not fit through the door. They spread it out, and it could not fit through the door. He discusses this, same idea in other places. Would that every one of us might merit to fulfill the advice taught there in the Likutei Moharan, and the lessons show us something, that is, to give much charity to righteous, truly pious poor people who are attached, etc., and to take delight and rejoice that we merited to draw close to the place that we did. Through all this, and to take delight and rejoice that we merited to draw close to the place that we did. Through all this, the supernal colors are revealed, which are the greatness of the blessed great Creator. Through all this, the supernal colors are revealed, which are the greatness of the blessed Creator. Thank God. Thank God I was in Brody and Lemberg, and it is absolutely impossible to engage in our business right now. I have practically despaired of the idea, but God's kindnesses are never ending, and a certain respected man who wants to help came up with a plan. Salvation is in God's hands, that the matter should finish well. Your eyes will see and your hearts rejoice. With God's help, praise God, I was involved a great deal there in speaking about the lovely wonders of the Rebbe's teachings, and about his greatness and exalted spiritual level. The people were very impressed, and most of the Chassidim there received me with great honor, but I did not leave there with any money. I did not even receive enough to cover half my expenses there. The very small sum that I did get was from my relatives who are extremely wealthy. But they are distant relatives, and the donation was very, very meager indeed. But the Torah of your mouth is better than thousands of gold and silver. And thank God I inspired the people there very much. Yesterday, many Hasidim and leading citizens of the town escorted me to the outside Brody, and many of them accompanied me to the border. On the way, they elicited from me many discussions and lessons from the Rebbe's holy teachings. I told them about the lesson which discusses praise of the tzaddikim and how through this one's speech is heard and accepted. I also talked about the lesson that gave birth to you today. I told them the story of how I merited to hear this awesome, amazing revelation and a little about what took place then, and they were struck with awe and trembling. After that, because of their enormous desire to hear, I opened my mouth through God's kindness and salvation, and I told them how the holy lesson, one who is awake at night and walks on the road alone, was said by the Rebbe. Then I said this entire awesome lesson to them. I told them the truth that the Rebbe of blessed memory used to constantly urge the young people to converse with God every single day, preferably at night and in a secluded place. This can ensure one's inclusion in the chiyuv HaMetzias, necessary existence, i.e. God, and in turn can raise up the entire world which is dependent upon that person. Then it too, i.e. the entire world is included in God, the chiyuv HaMetzias. A number of the young men were walking beside the carriage and behind us. As I was talking, they went on foot from there until the border, which is close to a parsing, about 4 miles. They all stood there awestruck and stunned. They all stood there awestruck and stunned. The hair of their flesh stood on end. Their souls nearly left them. They all stood there awestruck and stunned. The hair of their flesh stood on end. Their souls nearly left them. One of them was a dayan, a judge in Brody, and a truly outstanding Torah scholar who knows how to recount amazing explanations in the Talmud with the commentary of Rashi and the Tosfos. The rest of them too were learned and respected, and they were all astounded at what they heard. They did not know what to do. Publishers know the group of people subsequently established the custom in Brody to go into the field at night for his voidness. I myself and nachman too were reminded again of our situation in the world, that we merited to hear such things. Yet we are still far from the Rebbe's teachings, and I cry out in my heart now for the days that have passed. But because of all the barriers, it has been many years now since I merited to fulfill this teaching. But I encourage myself, because of all the barriers, it's been many years now since I merited to fulfill this teaching. But I encourage myself that the very few times I did merit to fulfill it a little, and also the occasions when I merited to express myself to God during the day. For this too is very, very precious. That every person merits to completely fulfill this entire teaching. Happy is the person who has exploited this even during the day. And how very, very fortunate is the person who merits to fulfill straightforwardly the lesson. One who is awake at night, walks on the road alone, until he merits to be included in the necessarily existent, etc. May our portion be with them forever. So this is why I hurried to write to you immediately before the morning prayers. For as far as I'm concerned, this letter is like teaching Torah in public. Maybe, just maybe, one person will be awakened by it to fulfill all, or at least part of this, particularly before they're approaching Holy, awesome Shoshana and Brody too. I spoke to them on a number of very holy and awesome lessons and conversations of the Rebbe, and I gave them a copy of the stories and of the prayers. Even though a few of them had seen the books before, it was many years ago, and most of them had never seen them at all. The Likutei Moharan as well, which had been printed there, had been sitting in a corner for many years, and now they were starting to take it out. They asked me about several things, and I gave them nice explanations. With God's help, I also explained to them the lesson which appears in outline form in the Likutei Moharan 2, lesson 79, which begins, "Voice is the voice of Yaakov," which the explanation was not printed there. On the night of last Shabbos Chazoin, I could not restrain myself, and my heart lifted up my legs, and I danced joyfully. I could not restrain myself, and my heart lifted up my legs, and I danced joyfully. With God's help, if I am not mistaken, I never before danced on the Shabbos Chazoin. If I am not mistaken, I never before danced on the Shabbos. Thank God, all was well. Salvation is in God's hands. He is our hope that we will also start and finish our business, and then start and finish it again many times. May God always finish for us, but this entails a great deal of expense. I hope in God's kindness and also in your heart's generosity, and in the generosity of those like yourself, you will certainly give as is fitting both to the business and to support me. My trust is in God that He will sustain me, support me, and that He will sustain me, support me, and supply me with all that I need. God, who has tended to me throughout my life, will never abandon me. The essential salvation, though, is needed in connection with the greatest of all types of compassion, that is, in instilling and binding understanding to the heart of every single person. That is, in instilling and binding understanding to the heart of every single person, until each person sheds the sins and the foolishness that are stuck to him. May God save us from now on. The assailant still lies and waits in the innermost recesses of every person, and out in the open as well. So it is in Brody, in Lemberg, and in every country in this lowly world, the world of action. This is the world through which all the entities created long ago must pass through. This is the world through which all the entities created long ago must pass through, to suffer what they must, and to be tested and refined in what is intentionally meant to be the world of tests and the world of deeds. What is intentionally meant to be the world of tests and the world of deeds. For every day and even every minute, a person is ambushed, and it is impossible to escape except through the holy torah, through prayer, and most of all through exploitedness in the conversation with God that we discussed above. The time for prayers has arrived, and the page is short. I must stop to say the Shema and pray the words of your true eternal friend, waiting for salvations at all times. Thus in the breast of greeting to my dear friend, the illustrious holy fruit of Avram Bear, may his light shine, and to Reb Abeleh, may his light shine along with all their children, may they live. I received a letter from my son, may he live, to the fact that he received the son that he lent for you. May God repay your deed. I'm sure you will work from a benefit, and any way you can. He also sent me your letters, and God willing I will write you again in the coming days with God's help. For now I do not need to tell you to urge our comrades to come to my aid, so that we may be able to accomplish the desire of heaven for the community's eternal benefit. And also the same. Greetings to every one of our comrades with great love. Be sure to keep an eye on my home and to help them any way possible, so that I will not fall into debt, God forbid, especially as I need to do the work of heaven for the good of the community. It is incumbent upon you to see to it that I do not face impediments to this, God forbid, on account of money. You do your part, both by giving your own generous donations as is appropriate, and by trying to get donations from a friend. Whatever you can do with all your might. Then God, who is good, will bring your efforts to a good conclusion. Fortify yourselves determinedly to grab torah, prayer, charity, and act of kindness each day, and especially to raise up your eyes and to express yourself before God anew every day. Text missing. I cannot go on right now, and you have already heard a great deal about this anyway. For God's sake, though, you must fulfill it properly, that you may enjoy good forever. The words of your teacher and true friend, waiting to rejoice over you in this world and the next forever. Nothing the same. Nach, nachman, Letter 318. God's Help Tuesday, Re'eh, 5600 bezH. Greetings to my dear beloved son, the learned of Yitzchak. May he live, along with all his children, may they live. And to all our comrades, greetings and abundant salvation. You should know, my dear son, that I just now arrived safely here in bezH about an hour after midday. Thus far have God's abundant compassion and his great, inexhaustible kindness helped me. And his great inexhaustible kindness helped me, so that I made it safely all this way. Blessed is the one who gives strength to the weary. God knows my fatigue, and in particular my practically limitless uncertainty about what to do. Who would believe upon hearing about me, that amidst such exhaustion and indecision, and with such opposition and persecution, and with such persecution, I would undertake journeys such as these, which entail such tremendous hardships. Everywhere I have gone, I have encountered the troubles of a person who is at once well known and unknown. I have encountered the troubles of a person who is at once well known and unknown. Everywhere I have gone, I have encountered the troubles of a person. I have encountered the troubles of a person who is at once well known and unknown. It is impossible to explain everything in writing, though. Blessed is the one who gives strength to the weary and greatly empowers such a helpless man. For with God's help, I have made this trip safely and peacefully. If our mouths were filled as a sea with song, it would still not be enough. Thank God I was in preeminence for Shabbos Nachamu, and the entire family received me with very great honor. Some of the other Hasidim in the town were also with me a great deal, though not all of them. In response to the family members' desire, praise God, I spoke many holy words of the Rebbe's teachings there, until they were pining from the depths of their heart to draw close to us. Some of them even articulated their heart's yearnings, but the road is long, and the barriers are enormous. The controversy and the groundless hatred of us, which we have done nothing at all to deserve, keeps them all away to a very, very great degree. They are perfectly well aware, though, that the truth is with us, but it is difficult for them to take the disturbance and whatever. But it is difficult for them to take the disturbance and whatever, in addition to all the other impediments. But it is difficult for them to take the disturbance. But it is difficult for them to take the disturbance and whatever, in addition to all the other impediments. It would be impossible to explain all this even in person, let alone in writing. The heart of every single person is twisted, and only God knows the world's secrets and the hidden things concealed within every living thing. I, in my destitution, seek and remotely discern the extremely deep cry of the heart of every person to draw close to the point of absolute truth. You can practically hear it, but a mountain separates them, and the Jordan River is stretched out before them and keeps them from coming over to holiness. What can we give back to God, who has rescued and saved our souls from at least one thing, that we do not, God forbid, have any doubts about the point of truth? So may He continue to bestow His kindness upon us even more, so that we may truly and completely fulfill the Rebbe's holy words until we quickly come to the eternal goal in accordance with the Rebbe's good desire. Amen, may it be His will. I was also in Ostrog, where I really inspired the holy stock of our master, teacher, and Rebbe in that blessed memory. There were a great many impediments to my traveling there, to the point that I had despaired of the whole idea. But God helped me in His compassion, and I went there. The famous Rav himself, with the children and a few of his followers who were there, received me with honor. I was there from Wednesday after midday until a few hours after the morning prayers on Thursday. Then the great advisor, blessed bezH, sent me the idea to travel from there to Old Castanen for Shabbos. And this is what I did. I arrived there afternoon on Friday. I was tremendously pained and anxious as I entered the town, because it is close to our region and people are more aware of the fire of the machlokes. God helped me so that my relatives received me with great honor. Among the other people, there was some difference of opinion, and a few of them came to see me. Thank God, Shabbos passed quietly, but I only spoke a few words of Torah there. I left there Sunday evening, and as I said, I arrived here safely. I've recounted for you a small part of the order of my travels in order that you should have this as a remembrance. And so that when God pities us and helps us in His kindness to successfully finish our business, then we will really understand His salvation, His miracles. Then we will really understand His salvation, His miracles, and His infinite kindness. Then we will really understand His salvation, His miracles, and His infinite kindness. It is all in God's hands. I was this moment informed that the post is going to leave soon, so I must cut this letter short. The words of your father waiting to see you soon, alive and well and happy and meuman, God willing. The words of your father waiting to see you soon, alive and well and happy and meuman, God willing. I cannot go home right now for a number of reasons. I now expect to arrive soon in Uman, and after sealing this letter, I will begin making arrangements for my journey there. I do not yet know what route I will take. May the one who steadies a man's steps take me on the right and true path. May He guide me on paths of the righteousness for His name's sake. And also in the rest of letter 319, with God's help, Tuesday A, 5600 bezH, missing. And greetings to my learned son, Rebbe David Tzvi, may he live. I received your letter and I was really pleased. Your writing style, thank God, is not too bad now, and with God's help, it will soon be what it should be. As for your handwriting, though, you must accustom yourself to writing every day. This will give your hand good practice at writing, which is a skill. This will give your hand good practice at writing, which is a skill that you will require in all areas, both in your worldly dealings and in your Torah study and service of God. I do not have time to respond to your letter now. God willing, though, I will answer you in writing from Uman, and we will also speak there in person with God's help. Just summon all your strength, my son, to flee from your extraneous thoughts all the time. A person can direct his thoughts as he wishes, and each time a person pulls his thoughts back in from the outside, it is extremely precious to God. A person enters this world in order to fight this battle. And each time a person pulls his thoughts back in from the outside, it is extremely precious to God. A person enters this world in order to fight this battle. And with these strategies of a master, teacher, and rebbe, of blessed memory, and through his great power, a person can rescue himself. But you need great determination and enormous stubbornness. But you need great determination and enormous stubbornness to engage in torah and prayer every day. A person must say, no matter what happens, I'm going to do my job and grab all the good that I can, and grab all the good that I can, be it little or much. The way a chicken picks through the garbage. Particularly important is crying out and supplication to God at all times, and especially during these holy and fearsome days before Rosh Hashanah. The words of your Father waiting to see you with all good, and us in the same, my beloved son Nachman. May he live. I received your greetings. I was extremely pleased by the fact that you wrote it yourself, especially since you have not been well. Thank God, the way He has helped you. Today, you start putting on tefillin, and it is as if you are newly born. For God's sake, remember well what you are starting now. Throw away all the foolishness that has been until now, and make yourself a fresh, new heart for goodness. God willing, I will write to you more from meuman with God's help. I will tell my son Rabbi Yitzchak to send you batin boxes for the tefillin. Be healthy, happy. Say Psalms every day and apply yourself to your Torah study. Then all will be well with God's help. Us in the same. Peace to all our comrades with a great love. I cannot address you now as is fitting. Most likely you will see or hear what I wrote to Yitzchak, my son. May he live. The post is in a great hurry. Us in the same. Nanach, nachman, meuman. Letter 320 with thanks to God. Thursday, Shoftim 5600. Uman. May the Master of Compassion write and seal for good my honored and beloved, my dear son, the learned Rebbe Yitzchak. May he live along with all his children. May they live. Thus far has God's compassion helped me, and I arrived here on Tuesday around midday. I found your letter and I was pleased. Now my eyes are lifted to heaven. He has begun, and He will complete the business that He has given to me to engage in, and which benefits the entire community forever. May God quickly bring it to a good conclusion. The holy days of all are approaching, and each person from his own place must examine his deeds and search for a way to do tshuva, to repentance. Our only strength is in our mouths, and even for this we must have the help of heaven. We must strengthen ourselves in good desires and yearnings, and be extremely determined and stubborn in our will. A person must also believe in himself, i.e., that the good that is in him is still very, very strong. Even though I have done wrong, he should say, great waters cannot extinguish the love, and rivers cannot wash away the points of good that I merited to grab within this passing shadow. This is particularly so, since, thank God, through His great kindness, everything is stored, hidden away, sealed up and protected with the true head of the household. It is His great power that still gives me hope for all true and eternal good. Just fortify yourself determinedly to be happier over all this all year long, especially in these holy days of Elul and Tishrei Hashem. Happy are we that we know about such holy, awesome, and exalted letter combinations about Elul and Tishrei. I just cannot keep myself from mentioning a few of them. There is the verse, in might and splendor she is dressed and she rejoices over her final day. First letters of the italicized words in Hebrew form Elul in acrostic. Ois v'hoda levusho v'tischak leyoim levusho v'tischak leyoim achroin. In acrostic, there is also, and the Lord your God will circumcise your heart and the heart of your offspring. Es levavcho ve'es levav zarecho will circumcise your heart and the heart of your offspring. If the woman does not wish to follow you, im loy soivu isha leleches im loy soivu isha leleches ve'im loy soivu isha leleches achrecho. If the woman does not wish to follow you, and they also form the word Elul in acrostic. The last of these is also related to the mystical meanings of the month of Elul, founded upon the verse, if I ascend to heaven, there you are. If I go down to hell, you are here. Happy is the person who fortifies himself every day and at every moment, especially in Elul itself, to observe this teaching and to draw upon himself the knowledge of one who is knowledgeable in halacha, one who knows how to run and how to return. Similarly, the name of the month of Tishrei is formed by the verse, in your strength, and one who knows how to run and how to return. Similarly, the name of the month of Tishrei is formed by the verse, in your strength you shattered the sea, you broke the serpents' heads upon the water. Shibarte Roshei Saminim al Hamoin Yam Shibarte Roshei Saminim Tishrei Yam Shibarte Roshei Saminim Tishrei. See, you broke the serpents' heads of the sea. In your strength you shattered the sea. You broke the serpents' heads upon the water. And also by, you know the soul of the stranger because you were strangers. Ki yadatem es nefesh hager. Yadatem es nefesh hager. Tevi es nefesh hager. Tevi. You know the soul of the stranger because you were strangers. Come and look from the heights of faith is also an allusion to Tishrei. And the numerical value of the word, come and look from the heights of faith, is also an allusion to Tishrei. And the numerical value of the word Tishrei is double that of the word seal, choitim. Who has heard anything like this? Who has seen such things? All the more so if a person has merited to taste even a drop in the sea of the sweet nectar, the lovely words of the revelation of the holy Torah lessons, which were said on all these verses. Our Master is great and very powerful, and in His incomprehensible wisdom He has concealed a light such as this in order that free will might continue to exist. But what can we give back to God for opening our eyes to see right in front of us? To see right in front of us the point of absolute truth, so that now it is absolutely impossible, God forbid, to hide it from our minds. And even if our actions, God forbid, are what they are, the truth is still the truth. And we can still try to serve God. The word, in brackets, and we can still try to serve God, and in brackets. The word of our God will stand forever. The words of our weeping, the words of one weeping, as he writes, from the enormous yearning of the good points. Lesson of Breslov, greetings to all our comrades with a great enormous love, in particular to my friend whom I love as myself, the illustrious and distinguished Rabbi Yaakov, the extremely careful my son and students, not to entertain any thoughts, God forbid, which do not accord with the will of the truth. Just be sure to come here and joy with our comrades this coming Rosh Hashanah, and let it be for your whole life until the arrival of our righteous teacher, the Meuman Mashiach, and may you enjoy good forever with God's kindness. You will be grateful to me forever and ever. Thus in the same letter 321, with God's help, Tuesday, Pesach 5600, Ummah. Warm greetings to my dear beloved son, the learned of Yitzchak, may he live, along with all his precious children, may they live. I received your letter on Sunday. I have no words of truth to say right now, and you will soon be coming here anyway with God's help. May God have compassion on us and allow us to draw upon ourselves the two kinds of know-how that a person must have, i.e. knowing how to run and how to return. These two kinds of knowledge are referred to in the verse, if I ascend to heaven, there you are. If I go down to hell, you are here. Without a doubt, this knowledge is monumental indeed. As I have already spoken about many times, there's more to say about it as well. Practically for every single day, the heart is twisted above all things, and it is extremely sick. And how very much they move against us every day in order to subdue it completely. God forbid, a person must constantly and vigilantly remember these two kinds of know-how, as well as a number of other holy discussions and awesome teachings that relate to this, so that he may always hold his ground. This is especially true in the month of Elul, etc., when these two kinds of know-how are evoked, for they themselves are the inner, mystical meaning of the month of Elul. Truth is that I really do not understand at all how I merited to hear things like this, whatever might happen to us physically or spiritually, even with the machlokes, the controversy, and the humiliation that we suffer. Nonetheless, Ashreinu, how fortunate are we? We can really say Ashreinu, for we still hope to wait for all good, for we still hope to wait for all good in this world and the next, forever. The words of your Father, Nas, and the blessed greetings to my learned son, Reb David Tzvi Mehilev. For God's sake, prevail with all your might, and be really happy at all times. Trust God, for He will not abandon you, for everything will turn out to be for the best. Inspire yourself by studying the Holy Torah every day, and prayers with prayers and supplications, and by saying psalms, the energy and concentration. speak with our comrades every day and bring yourself to joy any way you can. I too will fulfill my task of praying for you. Salvation, I too will fulfill my task of praying for you. Salvation is in God's hands. May He do good for you in His kindness. He will not deal with us as our sins would dictate. For His loving kindness to us is great. God's loving kindness never ends and His compassion never ceases. I do not have time to continue right now. May you have the peace and life, my dear son, that you and your father wish for you. Your father who is praying for you and waiting for your salvation, nachman is saying greetings to my learned son-in-law, the Baruch. May his light shine, and to his wife, my daughter, Chana Tziru. May she live, and greetings to my son, Nachman, and my son, Yosef Yoina. May they live. For God's sake, apply yourselves to Torah studying. Concentrate when you pray. Be careful about the blessing after meal, saying the Shema, and then making all the blessings. Guard yourselves from evil, and think about the tachlis, the ultimate goal. For the only true goal is Torah, prayer, and good deeds. For the only true goal is Torah, prayer, and good deeds. Nothing the same. Letters from 5600. Here in review, returning from Lemberg and Brody, Rav Nosson kept in contact with the printers in the hope of seeing the aggressive writings in print. Because of the censorship and the fact that the enemies aggressive were willing to witness the regeneration of the movement they had tried to destroy. Because of the censorship and the fact that the enemies aggressive were willing to witness the regeneration of the movement they tried to destroy, the reader will see only veiled references to this. But thanks to God, letter 322, thanks to God, Sunday, Erev Sukkot, 5600 Bressa, my dear beloved son. Nanach, nachma, nachman, meuman. Nanach, nachma, nachman, meuman.